Okay, the DNA is a code.
Yes.
Each codon is got a certain frequency. In order for an ancestor to incarnate into a descendant, they have to be a close enough DNA alignment for the energy to be broadcast like a radio signal, but to a different radio.
Okay.
Right. When you look at the fetal development, the point where the zygote sparks, it's a spark. That's at the point the soul is attaching to the zygote. It's in the first trimester. The mother can telepathically talk to the child if she remember her yoni magic. This is why they want to send you to Western trained OBGYNs and gynecologists so that they can tell you the limited information they want you to know about the capabilities of the uterus in the development of the child. The mother is always communicating with the child from inception. This is why the umbilical cord is there. It's an information highway. Right? So the mother always was talking to the child from the time he became a parasite on her uterus wall. They've been talking. That's because she's not here in physical form. And those of us who lost our mother know we can still hear her talking to us. Because she's tied frequency of love that can't go away. Parthogenic birth of a monoparent child. You're not describing the conception with two different templates coming together. You're describing the fundamental root to parthenogenesis, where the codons is activated solely by the mother. In this case, that's the science you drop. It's a different science from what I was telling them earlier. The science that deals with the two-part parentage, right? We're talking about the separation of alleles on the chromosomes in order to form whole body chromosomes, because now you're drawing from two sides of the family. And you can see the spark when this event takes place in the first trimester. But it's a different science. And a lot of the ancient science when they start talking about before the Diluvian history, what we was going before they started talking about parthenogenesis, the science is more detailed and intricate for the monoparent birthing. And this is the segue for Brother Anil Bey, because the Moorish navigators have records of the Americas that predate Columbus.
Right.
It's the gateway. It's the opening up of the door for a particular frequency of spirit to incarnate. When man is, as they say in the Moorish science, if we use the Moorish science today, man is truth and falsehood strangely mixed.
Correct.
What is the truth and what is the falsehood? The eternal spirit is the everlasting truth in man. The physical form is the temporary vessel which gives the man the false identity called the ego of self. You remember the other day we was talking and I was telling you how the blues singer pick up the frequency of that woman?
Right.
When he did her wrong. This is what you're talking about.
Okay. All right.
Right? He can hear it, but he don't know where it's coming from. He think it's a song playing in his head.
Shit. Damn.
And it's a combination of frequencies emitted by her collective chakra resonance carried on the sound wave at the subconscious level. You got to remember, just like we can see only 0.5% of the light spectrum, we can only hear slightly more of the sound spectrum. They got subliminal sound has been being used against us in media and entertainment for the last 50 years. Right? Because they know that these things, we can assimilate this as data. And go back to the early days of computer program. GIGO, what's that? Garbage in, garbage out. Right? So if they keep overwhelming your senses with misinformation and false paradigms, when it comes time to upload some serious information, where you gonna put it? You talking about you full of the Holy Ghost when you full of commentary. You can cite all of the commentary of the Moody Bible, the Orthodox Christian Bible with the footnotes, and you quote them so good, people think they came from you all the time. You ain't doing nothing but quoting somebody else's opinion of an opinion about a story that may not even be true. Look, my man told us we are instruments. We electromagnetic beings. In the physical form, we are accumulated DNA codons. When you break DNA down to its crystalline amino acid form, you see that you have something that breaks up light rays, a prism. And the light rays have to be separated in order for each ray to be used according to its wavelength and frequency.
That part.
So as an electromagnetic being, we download what we call consciousness into the physical world, and then we get absorbed with the physical world and forget where we came from. Right? So when Brother Rich was saying about the baby and consciousness coming into the baby and the remembrance of the womb, if it wasn't for a lot of us being shocked with the optic nerve with that bright ass light, a lot more of us would remember being in the womb.
Right.
That's not an accident. That's deliberate.
Uh-oh.
You hear guys that was locked up.
Going? Huh?
The old heads I was locked up with, they say if you feel the tension cutting thick enough to cut with a knife, don't go to the yard.
Where's ball?
Go to the yard.
Yes. Yes.
I thought that was just a penitentiary fairy tale. I woke up one day and I walked up to the doors getting ready to go outside, and I was like, oh bullshit. I'm going back to bed. I went back to bed, and look, there was a all-out war out on the yard while I was going back to bed.
Yeah.
The best way to understand what we're talking about hearing that music is to read how Beethoven said he would hear the entire symphony play, and then he would write the chords. Right? And the difference in the music that produced jazz in the musical notes of the Western piano player is orchestra versus ragtime. Scott Joplin changed to fill in the blanks, and it became a pariah the same as hip hop. Right? But the addition to see the colors, to read the colors of the spectrum, every note has a color associated with it.
Fact.
Right? They got a number associated with it.
Yes.
Right? And then the series of numbers produce a pitch and a frequency that we interpret as what's called harmony, melody. Right? And then if the music is sweet, we say that's feel-good music.
Right.
But when my mom and them hear our music, they say that's that bad house music. Because the frequency they was on has changed with the children that they gave birth to, because every generation is birthed with a different cause and purpose of being here.
That's a fact.
If you didn't have a cause and a purpose, you wouldn't be here.
Right.
I hear people all the time talking about this kind of people ain't supposed to be here, or that kind. If they wasn't supposed to be here, guess what? They wouldn't even be here.
There you go.
Even the ones that did the most violent, wickedest things to the people that's been here the longest is supposed to be here. This is the chapter of misery. And the misery does something to the God form that the pleasure could never produce. Right? The pre-karma, the build-up for the payout.
Right.
The long suffering, the enduring of the punishment in order to reap the greatest reward. The greatest reward is to get it all.
Right.
get so much that it ain't nothing to give to the ones that took it from us.
Mm.
So now they can't pay us nothing back because they don't have nothing because we took back everything that was ours by the blood and the right.
Oh yeah.
Don't forget about in the early days of music. They had a house band of brothers they called the music fixers. When the other people would make music, they would have to take it to them in order to fix the sound. The sound ain't right. It's something wrong. That's not new to us as a people. That's ancient. You know the women who wear all of the white stuff and they go down the riverbank?
Yes.
That's ancient. That go all the way back to early Atlantean days. And the science to it is the UV rays of the sun is amplified by the element water. The women in the white becomes the magnet with the uterus to the energy. The men have to ride on the mitochondrial in order to pick up the signals that's coming in. The water is an amplifier. It is a physical representation of spirit. That's why they say that water is God. If you could see spirit, the closest physical thing that you could use to describe what you're looking at would be water. As far as living in water, you got to remember every body of water around the planet is simultaneously evaporating and putting water particles up in the air. So of course we in water. We walking around in water. We breathe in water. We just breathing it less than the fish.
Indeed.
Every tattoo is a biological sigil. If you don't know why you're getting a tattoo, you don't know what you're charging up to put on your body. Because when you go through that pain and that blood and ink ritual, you are inscribing something. If you don't have a meaning, you better give it one.
How about that?
Because if you give it a meaning, you can control the energy that you use it to drive you and to utilize.
Indeed.
The brother earlier mentioned the dowsing. The cymatics of dowsing. And the reason the scientists can't acknowledge the accuracy of it is because they would have to then acknowledge the accuracy of tarot reading. They would
absolutely
have to acknowledge the accuracy of the I Ching. They would have to acknowledge the accuracy of the runes because the subconscious is the communicating vessel that's talking to us through these mediums. These are just tools. A carpenter need a hammer to drive a nail.
Right.
And sometimes a psychic uses the tool to develop the sense so that they don't need the tools no more. Look, Brother Rich.
Yeah.
45-degree angle. Shaped like an L, ain't it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, if you got a hallway with a 45-degree angle at the turn, and you run full speed, and right when you get to the end, you try to make that turn, what you think gonna happen?
Pop into that shit. Pop.
Okay, now, the fundamentals of programmable water, that's running into a wall, that's a generated trauma to the water.
Ooh, talk to me, Rod.
Right? So now the water that went through so many left turns going through these 45-degree angles, it accumulated a lot of trauma.
Damn, we drinking trauma water? What the fuck?
Hey, the bottled water in the store is not no better. Everybody that went through there, the water that downloaded everybody's attitude.
Oh, shit.
Based on the observer effect and the programmable nature of water, the lady who just caught her husband cheating 2 hours before she came to the shopping mall, her energy is in that water when she was glaring at it, thinking about him. It's in that water.
Shit.
Damn.
Right? The little runaway girl who ran in there because she was hot. She needed some air, and she looked at that water, and she mad at her family. That's in that water. Between still water and stagnant water, too.
Yes. Yes.
A lake is still water.
Right. Let's say stagnant. Right. That's right.
Stagnant water will spoil like bad food in the refrigerator. The old cowboys used to say, if my horse don't drink out that water hole, you won't catch me sipping nowhere near it.
That's what they said, right?
Yeah. That's how look, everywhere was a body of water before the settlers came was drinkable. Now, good luck to find the drinkable source of water in its natural habitat.
And think
You end
about
up with all
that.
kind of stuff. Tell my
What's-
mama, but she used to warn me about people with doing witchcraft. I said, Mama, I ain't worried about the one that got the time to do the ritual because they're not going to be thinking about me. I'm worried about the one that don't know they casting a spell when they wish I'd die for no reason. Had a cultural attraction to the corner anyway.
And a corner, if you know anything about Papa Legba, you already know what a corner is.
Yeah, we got a cultural connection to corners anyway. When we start coming into manhood and we want to test our grit, so when we go to the crossroads as boys becoming men, because if you pay attention to when we go hang out on the corner,
Yeah.
boys are becoming men.
Yes.
You want to test your grit, you go stand with Papa Legba because he gonna put you to the test.
It's coming.
Man, oh man.
It's coming.
You go deal with Baron Samadhi. He gonna put you to the test.
On that corner.
The corner is where you communicate with both sides. Every time they create a corner, they create a gateway that can download information from the spirit realm to the physical realm. Where do all accidents happen at? The 90% of accidents happen at the corner. They very rarely happen in open road.
I don't park on the corner. When I was in, I don't park.
You get your car hit.
Yeah,
Look,
a lot.
in major cities, different people got different cultural reasons to stay off the corner. Right? And we come up with those reasons, like Brother Rich said, I don't park on the corner. Cats in Chicago said, man, we don't hang out on the corner. Popo would come harassing you on the corner. Right? And this is all over the country now. The corner has become the hot spot for law enforcement to harass the boys trying to become men. They going to face Papa Legba themselves. They ain't waiting on mom and daddy to remind them who Legba is, because he gonna show up in some form or another. You just ain't gonna know it's him. And if you come with the wrong energy, he can send you home with your tail between your legs if you make it home.
That's right.
You mentioned Cat Williams in that interview. Do you remember his necklace?
Yes.
Woke folk.
Four corners to the center. Listen, four corners to the center. Square in the circle. So it's an old question. How did you get the circle out the square or the square out the circle? Right? He was showing the answer to the question in his jewelry.
Right.
All four corners converged on pi. That's the symbol of the man that we call Ta, standing on his post, holding his scepter. Right? So Ta is the fashioner. And the fashioner is the one that makes the man. He forms the man from the raw element. But this is the father side of masonry, not the mother side. Because the mother side is abstract. It's the character that can't be put in a box that the mother cultivate the wisdom in the child. The father teach the son to bump straight, and the mother teach him to stand up straight on four corners. So no matter whether he's dealing with Legba or the return of the Ogun, he gonna always hold his position right there under the light post. And they made a game called Pop Goes the Weasel to express that.
What a beautiful.
They don't know when one of the elders is gonna pop up in us if they don't know how to read the stars.
Damn,
this was the purpose of being good navigators. Because when you know where the stars align over what city and what energy frequency coming in, you can track the chiefs now. Just don't let them know the science. Right?
You get it, right?
So we reconstructing a new future right now in real time. And that's why I told Brother Rich, I said, we come in teams. And everybody do their part according to their skill set that they developed over their lifetime. When certain ones of us move, it makes a whole group of us move all over the planet.
Yeah.
We concerned with the struggle we face with over here, but we don't realize that we also affecting the outcome of everybody else's struggle around the planet. Right? It's all back to the alchemy. It's back to the metaphysics, the quantum physics, and it's back to the frequency